everyone, and welcome back to part 2 of the World of Tanks console celebration video that I planned for them. And this basically revolves around, I guess, World of Tanks console, if you hadn't caught on by this point, and going over some of the events that I personally enjoyed, as well as the community, hopefully as a whole, enjoyed from World of Tanks. Now, this time around, on the 31st of May 2016, we actually had the enjoyment of earning our first, it became our first earnable tank on console. Now, PC does have their own earnable type of tanks earned by missions, personal missions that you can accomplish to acquire slots to or passes to be able to rent the tank, I believe, or actually earn that tank now. It's actually earned that tank. But for console, it was a new concept for us, and because they don't want us to really get high tier premiums, as we're pretty much all aware about at this point, having an earn up to where you could actually earn a tank in the game was pretty much a driving force in having me continuously play. The tier 8 premium tank, in any sense, it was basically a credit earner, and up until this point I believe I was still a free-to-play player. Now I say up until that point because currently I'm no longer. I enjoy the game to a point that whenever someone asks me, should I ever invest into this game, and my response to that is simple, and whether this will be directed towards you or any other person that ever asks, if you enjoy a game so much that you feel like you would like to support it, make the purchase. That's all I can recommend. I enjoy the game so much that I feel like I want to put money into it, as pretty much World of Tanks is pretty much the game I play 90% of the time. I stream it, put videos for you guys up, giving you information on it. It's the game I enjoy. I feel like supporting it, that's what I'll do. If you're going to come to me and ask me or judge me upon that, well then that's your own right and own opinion. However, I always say give it a try. If you don't like it, it's a free-to-play game to begin with. Nothing you can't skip over. If not, check out a tank review, or if there's a tank that you were interested in and want to see a tank review in, just feel free to submit it. And if I have the opportunity and I haven't done that tank review, I can simply do that and have that out for you guys in, I won't say a relatively short time. I do have, a real job that I have to keep up with, but as quickly as I'm humanly possible to do. So the earn out basically revolved around the first tank released for console, the T54 first mod 1, or is it the first prototype? The T54 mod 1, or in this case the unique camo, the Motherland, and here's the release video for that. Yeah, that's very impactful. No worries, I get you. Apologies for it being too loud. That's just the actual volume of the video itself. So going off that, you can say, well, cool, you got to earn a tank. Well, no, this was the first time that we, as console players, were able to earn any tank in the game. Prior to this, you had to basically purchase. Now, for free-to-play players, that doesn't sound, that should sound great for you. World of Tanks console has continued that, basically giving out more tanks that you could earn. It's one of the things the community had asked, and it was one of the things Wargaming actually went and created a system to be able to give those free-to-play players, the truly free-to-play players, their own time into, well, you invest time into our game, we should be able to give back. And the Motherland Calls was basically their first crack at creating a system for earning a tank in the game and trying not to keep it too similar to what PC does. Fight for the Motherland was, if you had purchased this tank, you could earn it. It was a console exclusive tank, and this became something of a trend. I believe at this point the AMX Chaffee was already in the game, and I don't was the AMX Chaffee, I believe, was in the game at this time. I don't remember the exact date. Maybe I should have looked for that exact article. But it was basically earn a number of experience points to earn through, was it 5 stages of this tank. And for a casual player, this was actually fairly accomplishable. It was basically almost 2 week period that you could earn a tank. Let's see. I think it was 2 weeks. Yeah. In a 2 week period, you earn this amount of experience. It was locked behind a standard time, or I believe no, in this case it wasn't. You had the entirety of the event to earn the amount of experience, and this was the tank that I originally earned. And I'm sure a lot of the veteran players out there, if you were a casual player at the time and you did that the same way, being able to just unlock a tier 8 tank, it means a lot. And this is why in my video for World of Tanks, the anniversary event that they had asked me to do, I said it was great to see that I could grind through tanks, I could earn tanks, and when you earned a tank, compared to when you grind it out, it feels just as enjoyable, or if not even better, that you put hard work and effort into earning that tank and being able to walk away with a solid accomplishment, feeling, accomplishable feeling in general of just having that. And it was the first crack again at what World of Tanks for the console, what World of Tanks was about to start a trip on, giving players the opportunity to earn tanks and creating an earnable op system to where it's not too easy, but it's not too difficult. And there was a different, balance, and we'll get to those as soon as we keep going through the earn ops. But this was again the first time that we had this. You also had, if you had purchased it or if you had earned a tank in a limited number of 2 weeks. Let's say you earned it after a few days because you were a hardcore veteran player. You were able to take that, and I wish they would do this, currently with the ops. Take that, use the unleashed version by earning experience the same way you did for the earn op itself, and earn extra rewards for the game. Which I do not think up to today that we've had any earnable event that would let you earn gold outside of your proving rounds, like an earn op event that lets you earn gold as the way this game did. So it was great to see in general that they had actually included this as again, it was still within the same time period, but you were able to actually earn extra rewards after you've earned the tank. And I don't believe this is actually carried on past the Motherland, as again this was their first event. They were testing the waters into seeing what you could get. After that, on July 1st, oh my bad, no, I did say that, the 31st of May. Anyway, on July 1st, 2016, we actually got a second chance to earn another tank for the French nation. I believe at this point, we had actually recently gotten the French line, if I remember right. You know what? I'm not too sure. I should have probably kept up with the nation releases a little bit better in the tank news, but as you can see from the amount of tabs that I have open, just going through the earn ops events that I enjoyed was still an insane thing. So fight for the AMX CDC. Again, this was the second time World of Tanks consoles decided to stick their necks out and go for another earn op. You know what? Different try for that. And you know what? They made me eat my own words in the very next tab. You could complete the tank as well as use the unlocked version or the unleashed version of the tank after you had earned it or purchased it to then grind out another 1,000 gold. And maybe they'll make me eat my words again if I say that, so I'll try not to say it this time. Which was basically, again, the same premise as the Motherland. However, because they thought that the Motherland op was too easy, because again, a lot of veteran players play this game quite a lot, at this time, I still hadn't really diving too deep into it, but I was still, again, a little bit. I was starting to get above that casual line, I guess you could say. And the op itself to grind out this tank was insane. But they decided on a different route where you would actually have to, even if you would grind it out 45,000 experience July 15th, even though the event ran until the 28th, you had to wait until the 3 days later, until the 18th, where you could continue earning another 90,000 experience. Again, 3 days. 3 days to get 45. And then an additional 19, 20, 21, 22, 4 days. Don't worry, I'm horrible at math sometimes. Another additional 4 days where after you earned the 90,000 experience, you would have to earn 135,000 experience for the AMX CDC. And this is where the casual players, I guess, started feeling a little bit left out, because if you're a casual player to the game, again, I was starting to, go back and forth between that threshold. You cannot feasibly do all this amount of experience unless running premium time at that point, or being heavily invested into this outside of your own lives, and this was definitely on the more heavy-handed part of approaching earn-ops. And again, this time they were still trying to test out the ways that we could get the earn-ops, or get a kind of a rhythm for putting earn-ops into the game to earn tanks for free. And you got the same thing again. They made me eat my own words, I'm not afraid to say that, where you would be able to earn, in the Unleashed version, by owning the tank, a plethora of experience and extra rewards. You still got to receive another 1,000 golds. Again, I don't want to say that they didn't continue this trend afterwards, and in the very next panel they do that, so I'm not going to. But it was great to see, again, another tier 8. I earned this tank again. As far as most of their earn-ops go, I pretty much earn every tank that they put out for an earn-op. But again, they were testing out the waters for this, so we move on. Oh yeah, I had to reload. The 9th of August, 2016. One of the favorited tanks in this game, the Tiger 1, finally got its premium version, which was the Tiger Hammer.
Fan reaction to the Motherland was overwhelming. We wanted to top it, so we're bringing you the Join the Fight event.
The Hammer tank itself is an awesome tank. It's based on the Tiger.
I think the inspiration for this tank was a little bit different. We kind of wanted to reach back and do something cool and hip. As soon as we put the paint job on the tank, people started to really get jazzed about it.
It's definitely a collector's tank.
So with a tank called the Hammer, we thought the L71 gun would be the perfect.
Hey look, it's Leo.
Because it's a fast-firing, powerful hitting gun that hammers down their health.
There are 2 ways you can get the Hammer. One is you can purchase it in the in-game store, or 2, you can earn it through the Hammer Challenge op. The Hammer Challenge is a first of its kind. We've never run anything like this, where you're actually fighting for points. So if you win or do awesome in battle, you get a point. The more points you rack up, you progress through the links, you get through all the links, and you're going to earn yourself a Hammer tank.
For Join the Fight, we've got 2 special event maps, and that is where you'll be able to take any tank that you own into these events and fight historical battles. One is in Tunisia using Scorpion Pass. The other is Kursk, which is using Swamp.
The Hammer is a cool-looking, iconic tank. It's going to stand out on the battlefield, and I really can't wait for people to get their hands on it.
We put a lot of work into this design, and we hope the fans love it.
With the Hammer tank and amazing ops, there's never been a better time to join the fight.
Join the fight.
I just noticed Leo Torres. My bad. Just because I watched their recent video for it, I recognize the name. So the Tiger Hammer event, the fan-favorited Tiger 1 tank basically getting a premium version. And that's simply because the overwhelming amount of people that wanted to play the Tiger, because if you don't run a premium account, the Tiger tank is, you could make a profit, but if you pretty much get blasted to smithereens, most of the time you end up losing or going negative as a free-to-play player. And they decided, well, let's make a premium version of that tank where you can get increased silver and some experience experience bonus, but mostly the increased silver to play the tank that you want, and throw on a special edition camo on it, and give it the designation the Hammer. And this was basically a fully upgraded tank from the tech tree being introduced into it, and it was the first of its kind because it was actually taking a non-premium vehicle from PC. This is a console exclusive tank, as console or PC does not have a premium Tiger 1 tank. They have premium Tiger 2s, or the VK4503 if you want to call it, the Adler variant. We got basically Baby Tiger. But they have heavy tank number 6, which is based off the Tiger for the Japanese, but it's not the Tiger 1 tank. And it was a great, pretty much a big significance that they were just taking a standard tank, making a premium tank to begin with, but making it also similar to that of its fully upgraded kind. And even, I believe to this day, I do not own the Tiger 1 tank, but I own the Hammer, and I can say even if I went back to play the Tiger 1, I pretty much should know how to play it just from playing the Hammer itself. And what they did was basically, again, they were testing the waters for the amount of points that you could earn in a game, or for their op system. You earn a point if you place in the top 5. You earn a point if you win a battle. You earn 2 points if you complete both criteria. However, you'll lose 1 point if you lose a battle and don't place in the top 5. And you won't change if you lose the battle and end up in the top 5 XP earners. And see, luckily I didn't point out the fact that, we would not see that 1,000 gold come back up. Maybe that only applies to the 2017 era. Who knows? But you basically just kept playing for points, and it was a great feeling to be able to earn points, but you always knew that if your team lost, there was a possibility of you losing points. So at this point, I think was when you could definitely see a little bit better competitiveness between the community, as to where it wasn't just one side suiciding or lemming down a corner. It was basically full out, strategic mode, because you don't want to be on the losing team and you want to earn the points for that tank. And again, you got the Hammer Challenge, where it was earn a tank, and then instead of actually having it to where you have to go again and repeat the same amount of points just to earn up to 1,000 gold. After you would earn the tank, you just collected 15 points in any number of battles and you got 1,000 gold, which also included the medal for that if you'd completed either of the PvE modes at the time. So it was pretty cool. And the last part for this video will be the 100 Years of Tanks Dev Diary, as we go through this last part.
Here at Wargaming, we're celebrating 100 years of tanks.
How are we celebrating 100 years of tanks? 2 ways, with the new Centennial tank and with a trench warfare mode using the original classic Mark I tank. So the Mark I tank is the first tank ever made. It's this giant slab of metal that was originally had 2 jobs: defeat ground troops and cross trenches. So we wanted to take that thing and say, what if this thing had to fight itself?
The first time I heard the idea, I was like, that's interesting. I could not wait to see what the design team would come up with.
We got really, really excited. It was going to be awesome. This is something like we've never done in World of Tanks, and it's a chance to kind of change the way you play World of Tanks.
I don't remember who it was, but we were in a design session and somebody said, flamethrowers. And we all kind of went.
Originally, when I was told that we needed a flamethrower, I thought to myself, I've got just the thing. So we were out recording a handful of tanks in Minnesota last March, and at a certain point the owner of the tanks produced a flamethrower, and we immediately charged him and surrounded him with microphones and got amazing flamethrower recordings.
So the map itself just looks incredible. You have the trenches, you have the barbed wire, there's pillboxes everywhere, there's flames shooting out of them, there's mortars landing, shooting plumes of dirt.
To me, it's like this grim, this gritty trench warfare. When I finally got a chance to play it, it blew my mind. They absolutely nailed it.
The Centennial tank is a Tier 8 UK premium medium tank. It's really awesome. It's got like barbed wire and sandbags on top of it.
The design of the Centennial tank kind of harkens back to the World War I tanks, in that we've added things like barbed wire on a tank, which is something we haven't done before. And it's just to kind of keep people off the tank. Soldiers couldn't get on the tank, very much like the trenches of World War I. Can't get through them. It's a lot more difficult to get to this thing. It makes it look a little meaner and tougher.
Basically, it's a hybrid of two tanks. The hull is this Chieftain Mark VI tank. The turret is based off of the American T-95 turrets. There were two different tank programs that were working at the same time, and this was a hybrid of the two.
It never got made because the crew training requirements for using two different gun systems was going to be too intense. But in World of Tanks, we can bring it to you, and it's really cool to finally see it on the battlefield moving around.
It's a very good support tank, but its strongest asset is its gun depression, where it could just cause a lot of pain.
There's a lot of love in it, both from the mechanics and from the aesthetics.
To get your Centennial tank, you can either buy it or you can earn it with the Fight for the Centennial op. To complete the op and earn your tank, you're going to need to earn points. You earn points by destroying tanks and winning battles, or by winning a battle in the Special Trench Warfare mode. During the event, the Centennial is going to get ×2 correct speed. Also, if you bought it in a bundle, you're going to get a random loot drop for every win in the tank. The event also features 2 limited time medals. One, the Mark I medal, which you get for winning in the Trench Warfare mode, and the Centennial medal, which you earn by completing the Fight for the Centennial op.
I'm excited to share the history and help celebrate 100 years of tanks.
Getting to work around so many different types of historical vehicles gives you a lot of respect for the engineering craftsmanship that went into these things, and being able to present something that kind of harkens back to the formation of this type of vehicle, something that's so completely innovative and changed the face of the battlefield. It's an honor to be able to work on something like that.
Like our fans, I'm really into all things military, and so to reflect on 100 years of tanks, it's just really cool that we could bring this acknowledgement of that history into the game. I think it's totally unique and totally cool.
So the 100 Years of Tanks anniversary was basically upon us at this point, and this was the 2nd of September 2016, and brought along with it a few tanks that we'll talk about towards the end of the video. The 100 Years of Tank introduced the Centennial and the Mark I, which were to date the hardest earn-up in their game, and we'll go through it as we scroll down. To earn the tank, you need to rack up 300 points in 3 time locked events, each having 100 earnable points. Link 1 from the 16th of September to the 25th, Link 2 September 19th to the 25th, and Link 3 September 23rd to the 25th. You cannot lose points in the event. Also, if you decide to purchase the tank prior to the fight for op, all unleashed points will transfer to all unused points will transfer to the unleashed Link 1. Earning points: destroy 1 point. 1 point for destroying at least one enemy vehicle in the winning Trench Warfare battle mode. 1 point: destroy at least one enemy vehicle in a winning random battle. You also got a event boost. Placed in the top 3 damage dealers on your team in a battle between a tier 3 and a tier 10. An event boost basically earned you a... Where is it? It was right around here. It was basically... can be applied only to multiplayer battles and grants random amount of points. See, that was the point that became hard. Random amount of points. Event boost will only be consumed after activation once a player is placed in the top 3 damage dealers in a multiplayer battle. In addition, by purchasing the Centennial from the store, you'll be benefited from ×2 crew experience, yada yada yada. At this point, this is where this became interesting, because they were time-locked events in a rather short period of time. The 16th to the 25th. Pretty much made this tank one of the hardest grinds again for a casual player, and I believe it's at this point I can honestly say I was no longer a casual player, because I put, and I mean this sincerely, I put a lot of time into getting this tank. So much so that I actually gave up on playing the standard game mode, and because I was trying to earn the event boosters from the Mark I event, I stayed, I believe it was 4 to 8 hours in that mode to earn up, I believe, 35 or 40 event boosters, and had to use that because I was 2 hours, I believe. I made it by 2 hours to earn the Centennial tank. All 300 points of that in a matter of 4 to 5 days was insane, if I have to point that out. The random loot drops definitely was a big help. I believe in the highest amount of points from one of those was 10 or 12 points in one booster. I was like, oh, and then majority of it was 1 point, 1 point, 1 point. But it was interesting. I give it that. It was an insane tank grind, to say the least. However, before we end off the video, we will end on the negative side of this. And although I do enjoy World of Tanks, at this time, I could say, yeah, I was no longer a casual player because of the amount of time I was investing into the game. But I wasn't too dedicated on spending a buttload of money into it. Oh, wait, what did I open there? I just basically opened the same thing. The 100 Years event basically brought about the Black Edition tanks in World of Tanks, both on PC and on console. And this is honestly what I could say at the time. The Black Edition tanks just didn't interest me. One, they just seemed like an overpriced, bundle of tanks to me. Two, they were just black compared to their standard premium variants. It made no sense. I did not know at that time what the bonus experience or bonus silver was for those tanks. And when I actually went back after the community backlash about it started blowing up, about the 100 Years tanks being an overpriced bundle, checking out the statistics of the tanks, I found out that they actually made these tanks earn, I believe it's 75% experience, which for tier 8 tanks, a majority of the Black Edition tanks were Black Edition tier 8 tanks. They all earned 75% experience bonus, along with a 70 or 50 or 60% bonus of silver. Your tier 8 tanks are basically your silver grinders in this game. The lower the tier, the higher the XP earn rate for the tank becomes, and this was probably one of the least favorite things about that year. Just having those Black Edition tanks in general just meant that it was just an incredible loss for it. As far as the Centennial goes, I still wish it had that feature. Each of those Black Edition tanks basically had the same thing, as you can see here on the Centennial, which was 100 years on the tank turret. All Black Edition tanks are basically 100 years of tanks celebration. It was a one-time purchase, and no, they are not coming back, and not after the backlash that console and I believe a few on PC ended up receiving on this event. PC had nothing on the console side, by the way. They had two Black Edition tanks, the T-34 Black, and you know what, I don't remember what the second Black Edition tank was. Somebody might want to point that out for me. But we had 7 or 8 Black Edition tanks released, which is why our bundles were, close to $300-400 in pricing at that time. That would probably be on the lower end of tanks for me, personally. Buying an overpriced bundle, I would say over the course of the years I've obviously spent more than that in the game, but at one-time purchase, I have not made that kind of purchase in a one-time event. Over the course of the years, yeah, no, I've definitely played or paid into this game a lot more than that, but again, one of the least favorites, but again, we're going through each of the Ernops. The Centennial was definitely one of the best. At this point, I think, is when console decided to bring in some of their own unique taste into the tanks. As you know, most of the tanks are brought over from PC. They decided to start customizing them to fit more of the tastes for the console community itself. Everybody just doesn't want a carbon copy of PC. If you're one of those players, sorry that your game didn't turn out the way you wanted to. I kind of like it the way it is now. But again, it became a great thing. earn a free tier 8 tank that was unique looking compared to any other tank in the game at the time. And that even puts the Motherland to shame, which was a unique color scheme on a tank as is. However, moving forward, we're going to be taking over that in another video, as I am, again, running the videos pretty long at this point to not continue blabbering on. We'll get into the next video after this. Catch you guys next time.